Let's get physical. It's Jordan here, back again with this week's update on all the physical releases coming to the Switch. We're in the third week of July 13th until the 17th. Retail, low print, and imports, plus our community spotlight where you show off your pickups and potentially win a physical Switch game. Before we get on with this week's episode, I have something special to announce. We still have the community spotlight giveaway. I have finally decided what the prize is, but I'll tell you more about that later in the episode. But we have a second giveaway for this week only. Yes, Pixel Heart, the publisher behind Gigantic Army, Shmup Collection, and Finding Teddy 2, plus some other upcoming titles. Now, apparently, they are fans of this series and have been so overwhelmed with seeing all of your photos of Finding Teddy 2 and Gigantic Army, which is a bit of a legend in these parts. They've donated a copy of Finding Teddy 2 to give away to one of you. If you want to have a chance to win this European version of Finding Teddy 2, check the link in the description. It will take you to a tweet on Twitter where you can follow me, follow Pixel Heart, and retweet, and that's it. You'll be in with a chance of winning this fine little physical. I will announce the winner in next week's episode. Such a simple thing to do to win a gorgeous game. Many thanks to Pixel Heart for this. Alright, let's get on with this week's episode. Void Terrarium is the latest release from NIS America, hot on the trails of their last release, Trails. This is a very different game, however. This is a darkly roguelike adventure set in a post-apocalyptic world. There's lots of customization in your loadouts as you venture into the wasteland. There's lots of survival elements in here too for what's going to be an interesting title. As far as I'm aware, this is only coming in a limited edition. I've been wrong about this before with NIS America, but I'm a little bit more certain on this one. Maybe. I think it's kind of like a La Mulana and Psycho shooter vibe, rather than a normal split between standard and collectors. Warhammer 40k Mechanicus is releasing physically this week. This is one of the many games that take the very famous Warhammer license and run with it. Even on the Switch, there's like half a dozen now. This one is a turn-based strategy game that seems to be popular with the license. I played Space Hulk and I absolutely could not bear it, but this is a different studio with a different publisher, so hopefully this one's decent. Anyone a fan of Warhammer? I think I painted one figure back in the day when I was a kid. And Dane Wilkinson has chosen this as his pick of the week. Paper Mario is back, looking bigger and better than ever. Well, we'll have to see about that. Probably one of the most loved of Nintendo series, is often touted as having peaked with the second game in the series, and then kind of squandered in the last 3 entries, despite being solid enough. This time, the Origami King. Paper Mario needs to do what he does best to save the kingdom in this adventure-style RPG. Featuring a new gimmicky battle system, and perhaps leading towards the earlier titles with potential partners and such, I don't know, you're guaranteed to have a great time with this one. The writing and humor will no doubt be top notch. You won't be surprised to hear this, but Paper Mario has been chosen by Jonathan Rumor, Gannicus, God of Resin, and Brent McLean as their picks of the week. Also, a couple of quick mentions this week. Story of Seasons, Friends of Middletown, is releasing in North America this week after releasing in Europe last week. And also to Collar X Malice, which seems to be getting its European physical this week after being already released in North America. Let's jump into the low print releases. Ys Origins from Limited Run Games went up for pre-order last week as a surprise announcement, so I obviously missed it for the episode. Anyways, this is a game that's come a long way. Originally a Japanese exclusive PC game back in like 2006, it only saw a console release more than a decade later thanks to .emu. Firstly on the PS4 and Vita in 2017, but now is finally seeing a release on the Nintendo Switch. It is a prequel to all of the Ys games, but is more straightforward in an action dungeon crawler type of genre. It's supposed to be pretty good. I'm getting it, but not limited runs version. Europe is going to get a standard retail release, as is Hong Kong, which is the one I'll be getting due to my location. Plus, I think the Asian box art is so beautiful. I'd have probably gotten that one anyways. But back to limited run, they have a standard edition as well as a collector's edition. You can pre-order this now. Psychotic Adventures Origins from First Press Games went up for pre-order last week. This is a very peculiar comedy adventure game going for some dark humor like an adult-oriented cartoon. I don't know much about this one, probably not my kind of game. The art style isn't doing much for me, but it is unique and quirky. First Press Games are offering a standard edition, which includes a manual and a coin, and their collector's edition nets you 2 plushies, patches, mini books, tarot cards, soundtrack CD, and files. It's definitely going to be an interesting one for collectors out there, just not for me. And just a heads up, the scheduled release of SteamWorld Dig 1 and Heist last week from Super Rare Games went a bit tits up. Something happened on Super Rare's website that meant that they had to cancel the order, period. Some people managed to snag it, but most were left confused and bewildered. But don't worry, those who didn't get it, they're gonna try again later this week. Stay tuned to their Twitter account for more details on that. Alright, let's jump into the imports this week. Just remember that if any of them take your fancy this week, either in this import section or in the community spotlight, and you want them for yourself, then there are imports links below in the description and the pinned comment. It helps support this little series and SwitchWatch as a whole, so we appreciate you very, very much. Honestly, guys, we love you. Plus, in return, if you use our links, you can also get 5% off your order if you use the coupon code SwitchWatchTV. That's all one word while checking out SwitchWatchTV for 5% off your order. There's not a lot this week, to be honest. Firstly, Together, Battle Cats is an outrageously Japanese title where, if I'm being brutally honest, I have no idea what's going on here. This is perhaps one of the weirdest games I've ever seen, and I'm devastated that the Switch physical does not have English. I remember this game has been out digitally in Japan for a long time and was often stuck at the top of the chart, so I've always been intrigued. This physical seems to come with a nice Switch carry pouch too, but not 100% sure on that. Code Realize. SHIROGANE no KISEKI? I'm not gonna lie here, I'm not a big fan of otome visual novels, and I have no idea which Code Realize this is. I don't know if it's new or a port, I just don't know. Most of these games make it to the West, so wait a while, there's no English on this one. Alright, let's jump into the Let's Get Physical Community Spotlight, where you show off your pickups. If you're featured, then at the end of the month, you'll be in with a chance of winning a nice physical Switch game. As mentioned in the intro, I decided on which game that I'm going to give away. Well, I should say Red Art Games decided for me. They had a nice little sale on some of their games, and I decided that Splasher would be a great one for a prize. It's a good game, it's an obscure physical, and it stops this series from, making too much of a loss. Alright, so yeah, this is the one that you could win at the end of this month. Not long to go now. Let's take a look at this week. Firstly, this week, I got an absolute monster turn up in the post from Play Asia. It's something that I've wanted for a while, as I've hinted in these segments pretty much every episode. Well, you pervs out there pushed me over the edge. I just became more cultured than I ever have. It is a beast. Omega Labyrinth Life Collector's Edition. This is way bigger than I ever expected. I have literally no place to hide this from the wife. I'm hoping she won't leave me. Anyways, this is the Asian version that has English on the cartridge. The Japanese does not. Just be warned about that. It's import exclusive too. No Western release was made and no sign of one in the future. There is a standard edition, but why would you want that when you can have this absolute unit? If you want to see a full unboxing video of it, I've put one over on my personal channel since I didn't want to clutter SwitchWatch with old news. There is a link in the top right hand corner if you want to see that. It's well worth a look. I think I put it together nicely. Anyways, in this behemoth you get an excellent giant box, the game, of course, a soundtrack CD, yes, some DLC codes, a steel book for you fans out there, an alternative cover sleeve, as well as a big booby mousepad. Always a cultured touch. I am very impressed with this. I just have literally nowhere to put it. Anyways, if you want this beast for yourself, then I'll put links in the description below where I bought it myself. Alright, on to you lot. Flyro got in some pickups, including Cinemora EX, a shooter that's not talked about a whole lot. It's tried to be a little bit more cinematic than most, and is a fairly interesting title, usually going for cheap these days, so is worth a look. Apparently, I did some naughty things to Derek Jenkins' bank account. After watching a couple of import vids, he went all out with a massive order using our links and codes, which we very much massively appreciate. Thank you so much. To all of you out there, you help keep this series alive very, very much. Anyways, there is some excellent obscure stuff in here if you're into imports. I recently got this puzzle game, Nampura 10,000, myself. It's one of the most obscure games around. Like 3 out of the 4 games have English on this. And also, while I'm here, I want to correct a mistake that I made about Yumiya Tutu. It's not really my fault, but I'll get to that. I said that the Japanese version was not fully English. I said it in my reviews and I've said it in multiple videos. However, having talked with an owner of the Japanese version, it appears that both games do have English. This is contrary to my research. The eShop said that one of them did not have English, and also Play Asia themselves said that one of them didn't have English. So both of those were wrong, and they made me wrong. The Japanese is fully English. Feel free to get that one. Sorry for the wrong info, but I can only go with what I have. I try my best. Alright, Neverbirth picked up Catherine with this little keychain bonus. Plus, they continued in their NIS America quest. Captain Slow picked up Headliner when PlayAsia had a very delicious sale on it. They put this import exclusive down to just $15, which was fantastic value. I snagged one myself, it's just currently in transit. Worth a look if you're into something a bit different. Here are Chuck Taylor's recent additions, pretty much quality all around. I love game box art, it just makes me very happy. Such an underrated form of art. Mr. Valgard also got in his Catherine, as well as Trails of Cold Steel 3. Man, I would definitely get this on the Switch if the previous two games were on it too. For now, I'm gonna wait. Bruno Silva can't resist a bargain. After paying €1,000 for Daemon X Machina, he went down a notch to $10 for this absolute steal of Dragon Ball FighterZ. One of the best fighters on the Switch for sure. Santa Tartaruga got in this massive edition of Trails that comes with a nice steel book. I've said it before, but this totally looks like a companion cube. Chris Stage showed off these games, a couple of games that were previously import exclusives, Dead or School and Coffee Talk, both reminders to importers everywhere that Western releases can appear at any time. Not to worry though, imports are always cooler for me. But there is one that's not got a Western release yet, and it is a travesty, Phoenix Wright Trilogy. 3 of the best adventure games ever made, and Capcom won't release them physically in the West. Definitely one you need to import. Switch Guy 42 sent in these games including Mary Skelter 2, which I believe was distributed by Limited Run, supposedly a good game, and even includes the original game, so it's a 2-in-1 really. Visipon picked up this quick title, one of NIS America's less well-known releases, Neo Atlas. Plus, last week she sent in Romancing Saga 3, which I forgot to put in the videos, I'm sorry. Sometimes it's easy for me to miss things. Our executive producer God of Resin couldn't help himself with some sales and offers with this fantastic haul. Loving that Wonder Boy cover, apparently it's the reversible cover, but I've never seen that myself. Mainly Joe sent in this photo of a couple of recent releases, SpongeBob and Little Town Hero, plus one of the quintessential imports, Dragon Quest Trilogy. Roadrunner, meep meep, sent in these recent pickups, lots of love for special reserve games in there, plus for Pixel Heart seeing Finding Teddy 2 and Gigantic Army so much in these videos. That's the reason they allowed us to give away Finding Teddy 2. Roadrunner also got in this selection of games as well. Rick C wanted to show off his collection, plus some recent games including 2 big boys, one of them from Special Reserve, the other from Strictly Limited, with perhaps one of the weirdest releases ever, especially with that cover. It reminds me of like VHS tapes that my granddad used to have on his shelf. Martin Sutherland was one to get his Streets of Rage 4 from Limited Run. It's going to be an interesting one to see how many pick up the wider retail release when it arrives. Alolan Joe got in a nice import from PlayAsia, hopefully using our coupon. Katana Kami is a highly recommended import, a mature rated game, as you can see. If you're into top-down action with dungeon crawling, this may be the game for you. Penny Lane, what a lovely name, sent in these pictures, obviously a fan of Stranger Things, liking the NES style box of that collector's edition. Samuel Robinson wanted to show off his new sleeve that he got for Breath of the Wild, looking very nice, plus he got one of the little manuals that I showed off a few weeks ago, created by a dude on Twitter. I'll put a link below as to where you can find him, definitely this time. Well, maybe. I often forget links, I say it so many times. Chris Hepburn got in his backer copy of Wonderful 101, looking very nice. Plus, even snazzier is the Mighty Switch Force collection from Limited Run, which seems to be getting sent out now. Interior artwork for the win. Marty Marr wanted to show off his towers. Now that's making me feel dizzy. That's gonna be like at least 200 games, right? And the latest addition to that is Streets of Rage 4. Art Minus Me tweeted this picture at me, including some incredible games. Honestly, anytime World of Final Fantasy comes at me, I can't help but mention it. More people need to import this game. Jonathan F. Yeah, we have just as many Jonathans as we do Chris's. Anyways, Jonathan F. sent in this photo of some badass physicals, a mix of low print and imports. I've considered getting that Link's Awakening Japanese Collector's Edition because you get the art book and, you know, the artwork for that game is just gorgeous. It's a beautiful game. Gravity Feeder sent in this Eye Dazzler. Lots of incredible RPGs in there. Just think how much time would be needed to complete all of them. Gerald Gonzalez sent in this photo of Blazing Chrome, the Collector's Edition from Limited Run. This is exceptional in terms of aesthetic. That VHS movie rental style case is just on the point. Cloud's Nightmare sent in this photo of some recent pickups. SteamWorld Dig 2 up there, kind of relevant for this episode. It's a phenomenal game, perhaps ends a little abruptly, but the journey is excellent. It's much better than the first game. Chris from Cali sent in this photo. Very nice to see The Fox Awaits Me. Not only that, but it appears to be the collector's edition, which I think that's the first time I've ever seen it. Supposedly, it includes a drama CD and the theme song CD. Jarrow reminded me that my gamer card is still confiscated from me due to not owning Esp Psi, which is a Japanese exclusive shoot 'em up, an arcade classic. I love shmups, and yet I do not own this. I know, I'm a terrible shmup fan. This is an essential one, but I'm just too poor, I guess, he says as he spends $90 on a big booby mousepad. Vanessa sent in this great photo, which includes the recent Collar X MALICE. I am intrigued. How many people are fans of the otami genre? You know, the ones where you date loads of dudes? I'm genuinely curious, since it's not my type of game, and yet I see so many of them. Park Ranger got in Indie Calypse, the recent first outing for Ultra Collectors. They may have a daft, overly serious name, but hey, at least they get their products out pretty sharpish. Check out ultracollectors.com to see more. I'm guessing a lot of people still don't know about them. Punky Dooster once again allowed us inside his card case, once again with a nice mix of games, lots of arcadey type stuff. Visara is worth a look for shooter fans. Sadly, it was by Strictly Limited, so it's only available via eBay and such these days. Retro Games showed off Gone Home, a very interesting, obscure physical. Hyrule Legend got in the very tasty Catherine full body, once again with the little nice keychain. Mike NH88 sent in this picture, which just kind of shows how chunky those signature edition games are these days. I hope you've got shelf space for those 100%ers. Demigs got in one of the holy grails for collector's editions. It's not particularly rare, well, I guess it is for Nintendo publishing standards, but the quality of Octopath is something very special in this collector's edition. Canuck showed off their collection, looking very impressive indeed, plus they got in a few newbies with these 3 games. Our executive producer, Gannicus, was also one to pick up Catherine Full Body. Seems like it's going to be a popular one. I wonder how well it will sell in compared to the older releases. Renato Faris sent in this picture of the very nice looking Vambrace from Game Fairy. Have to admit, I'm a little worried about those guys. Yeah, they are starting to send out stuff now, which is great, but they haven't announced anything new for like half a year. Well, actually, I guess that is refreshing. You know, not announcing new stuff until you've delivered on your first promises. What a weird concept in the low print community. Nice. Stephen Domick got in this edition from Fangamer. They do put out some great stuff. This is the Undertale Collector's Edition, which I'm surprised isn't more popular than it is. I guess people just don't know about it much. Fangamer.com if you want to see more. Boombox dazzled my eyes with so many pictures. I think they sent in 8 pictures in total, so I can't talk about them too much, but I've laid them out here for you to admire. Very nice stuff. Pretty with Horns got in Broken Sword 5, which I'm led to believe is surprisingly hard to get a hold of in the UK, less so in America, but it's also impossible for me to get here in China. It's on my wanted list, as I do love the series, but I'm having a hard time finding it. Our executive producer God of Resin placed an order with Axis Games for Ghost Parade and Little Dragon's Cafe with its nice little plushie, plus got some soundtrack CDs with it, which I think were bonuses for the order. Nice touch. Matthew Hutton got in some Mega Man goodness this week. I have to admit, I'm not the biggest fan of Mega Man, but I can appreciate the series with a bit of a legacy, hence the title of this release. Lord Vapor got in some good stuff, including Ion Fury, as well as Unravel 2, which is one of those games where you guys taught me about the physical. I had no idea about this one. Ultracore and Yono the Celestial Elephant were a couple of others like this. MMO Hassler sent in this from Idea Factory, a pretty decent JRPG with a lot of fan service to go around. I picked this as my bargain of the week one time. Jonathan, one of the Jonathans, sent in this glorious picture, as he often does, with his latest pickups. I know it's not a game, but the 2 imports at the top up there, 2 classic soundtracks from Square Enix. Chrono Orchestra, which has both games in the series. The music is reimagined. I've heard it, and it is beautiful. Plus, Final Fantasy VII Remake soundtrack, which is one of the best soundtracks ever made. Just unbelievable. They made Nobuo Uematsu's masterpiece come alive even more in the modern age. Just gorgeous. I love it so much. Sorry, I really wish I could import both of these, but I just cannot afford it. Links are below if you want them for yourself. James Church was one of the lucky ones to get in their copy of Shmup Collection. Fantastic games. I reviewed it and I want this myself. Dempseyfer got in these games. Long-time viewer, first-time contributor. Welcome. They are one of the early ones to send in their pickup of the very recent Deadly Premonition 2. Be sure to check out Juan's review of that from Friday. Honestly, you need to watch it before you buy. Another new one from Jumbo Skull, who picked up Story of Seasons, which is a game that I reviewed, plus Wonderful 101. McLaren sent in this photo of a fully up-to-date collection of super rare games releases. Man, they've come a long way, check that out. And finally, Fluttershout, who got in their copy of Streets of Rage 4. Alright, I'm exhausted guys, I can't go on anymore. Thank you so much. It's always wonderful to see what games you've picked up. Send me your picks over on Twitter. You can DM me or you can tag me and use the hashtag Let's Get Physical, and I'll reply to you and give you a nice retweet. Or if you don't like Twitter, you can send me an email at contactors@switchwatch.co.uk. Just make sure you start the email title with Community Spotlight so I don't miss it. Plus, we have a Discord, which is a nice way for us to have a chat with you guys. Plus, you can send your pictures over there in the submissions section. The link to the Discord is below in the description and pinned comment. Right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of New Physicals. Remember, if you want to win Finding Teddy 2, use the link in the description to head over to Twitter and do the 3 things that I need. And who knows, it could be you. Something so simple, yet you can win something so wonderful. All right, special thanks to our executive producers, Dane Wilkinson, God of Resin, Brent McLean, Jonathan Rumo, and Gannicus, and all of the others who have joined our memberships, plus all of you watching right now. If you stayed until the very end, honestly, that means so much to us. I really appreciate you guys. All right, check out last week's episode in case you missed it. We'll see you guys over there. Take care. Goodbye. Yes.